welcome to another episode of From My Mother's Basement, the show where we talk about everything nerd, whether it be anime, manga, video games, tech, you name it. I'm Jason, and for this week, we actually don't have Michael. Michael's out on a trip right now. We do have a nice guest on board with us. Please welcome Nikki. Thank you very much for jumping on the show, Nikki.
Thanks for having me.
And you might have... Go ahead.
I'm the obnoxious one that sits behind Michael and yells at him during the show when he says something wrong or if he didn't bring his materials.
Okay, that's good to know. So I always have a backup on that then. Oh, man, we have a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and just get things started off with what we need to go check out on Friday, which was the double feature of the Madoka movies. And we were able to get some press passes. We'll just get that stuff out of the way. So we were able to get in. We got some good footage. The footage will be available probably in the next couple days. I apologize. It should have been done by today, but aside from picking up some cool swag, I also picked up some bug there because yesterday and part of today I've been like on my back, just like I can't do anything. So hopefully we will get that in probably about Monday or Tuesday. So I'll definitely let you guys know about that. But it was, I would say it was a packed house. Wouldn't you say that was a packed house, Nikki?
It was, and that line outside was really amazing. I've been there once before to see the second Ava movie, and there wasn't a line anywhere near what we saw before.
Yeah, it went down the street to the next street, actually, I think the second street. And there was a couple cosplayers. There was a Madoka there that came out of the 1 o'clock showing that we were able to talk to. And then, who was it that we had? Kyoko, that was in line. She was actually pretty spot on in terms of her design. But overall, it was a lot of fun in terms of, going to see an anime flick in a room full of anime fans. You rarely get to get that experience here in the States.
Definitely, and more towards the second movie, when things started rolling, and that's when they would really start getting into it. The first movie, I thought, moved a little bit slow, and it kind of seemed like it was stagnant. But once you hit that second movie, which is pretty much the second half of the series, that's when it started picking up speed, and that's when the audience really got into it. And then I was like, that's right, I'm with a bunch of fans.
It's nice to have that, that feeling. You don't, like I say, you don't get that often here in the stateside. But, let's talk about just the first movie real quick. I mean, you thought it was pretty stagnant. Was there anything else you wanted to state about it, or?
The second movie, in the middle, where we had that random... It cut to the opening credits for the TV series.
Yeah, why am I wearing a hat? Oh, that's right, because everybody has a hat on this show. Whatever. No, forget. Yeah, that was weird that there was almost no context for it. It literally was just, and here's the opening for the series, the Blu-ray version with a little more detailed graphics. And there was no, we were all confused as all hell.
Yeah, I remember you said, like, oh, what happened? Did the Blu-ray skip? Did it restart itself? And I'm looking around, and the girl next to me, that we had that great couple sitting next to us, they were also like, what just happened? Wait a minute, isn't this the opening credits for the TV series? Why are they playing them halfway through the second movie? That was a bit confusing, but to me, I didn't really recognize anything as being significantly different than the TV series. It just seemed like they cut a lot out.
Well, from what I saw, first of all, a lot of the backgrounds were actually either updated or just changed altogether. A lot of the character animation was the same. That was basically copy pasta from the Blu-ray. Yeah. Especially in movie 2, Homeru's backstory. I mean, that was almost directly just copy pasta. Some things that were changed, though, first off, was the transformation sequences, which blew me away, especially for the fact that the couple times where you had the same character transform, it wasn't the same thing. They actually did a different transformation sequence for it, which was nice. It showed they put some effort into it. The new music was... I'm always a Yuki Kajuto fan, so I was like, okay, this is cool. I really enjoy it. The one thing that I really, really liked about it was the voice acting, because at the beginning of the film, we actually had a small clip of the voice actresses talking about their experiences re-recording their roles for the movies. And because of the fact that it's a second time around, they have more time to get into the character, get their backstory, and get better acquainted with them. That there were times where the depth of the emotion was just so much higher than what I remembered from the TV series. And I guess that's just because of the fact they have more time with it. Did you ever get
That's
anything like
true.
that with?
It did feel a little bit more like that. They also had the volume so incredibly loud that sometimes it was a little bit much to tell the difference between emotion and spiking the audio. Because I had a
Yeah.
little bit of a ring going by the second movie. But yeah, it was definitely intense. I couldn't. It's been so long since I watched the series because I did watch it when it first came out,
Hmm.
and I couldn't remember if the voices were that intense the first time through. But now that you mention it, I don't remember the transformation sequences for the original characters except for Mammy.
Oh, okay.
So I completely believe that they must have redone those because I don't remember the first ones.
No worries. Yeah, like I literally yesterday, because I was just on my back, I just checked out the series. I looked up again. I'm like, okay, so they did change that. They changed this, and the transformation sequences are leaps and bounds better than what they had in the original series. We've already gone. My only thing that I would have a complaint about wasn't really about the movie itself. It was about the theater, specifically the sound. Whoever was their sound tech had the high range frequencies cranked up so loud that every time when any one of the girls screamed, which was a lot, it rung my ears. It hurt my head. I had like you said, I had a headache by the end of the first movie, and we still had another 2 hours to go.
Exactly.
But it was enjoyable though. I'm definitely be having fun watching these again when they come out on Blu-ray. I'm actually gonna pick these up. Let's go to a little bit of a spoiler real quick. At
Okay.
the end of movie 2, we had a trailer for movie 3.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I was kind of wondering at the end of the TV series and then again at the end of the movie, she made this huge sacrifice and she
Hmm.
basically said, I don't want anybody to have to give up hope ever again.
Right.
That doesn't resolve the fact that the girls have to fight at all. It just means it's going to be a different kind of fight going forward. So to see what they're going to do with it and how it's going to be
Hmm.
um, is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. I was worried that the new movie might be campy or it might be more of a friendship movie, but it looks like they're going to keep it just as dark as the original series was.
Now, my old thoughts on that, I agree with for the most of that. I'm wondering if we're going to get into kind of like an alternate reality, which, I mean, there kind of was at the end. I mean, here, let
Yeah.
me pause it up for 45 seconds. Yeah, I mean, basically at the end, Monica becomes essentially a god, and it becomes a whole new universe because they rewrote the rules of the universe. There's no witches or anything like that because Monica's taking care of them. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, so are we gonna expand upon the characters in that universe? Are we gonna bring people back from the original universe? I mean, where are we gonna go with this? And it brings me to the question that if you remember, I know it's a bit of a kind of a semi-spoiler because we had it in we recorded while we were in line. The first girl in line was in there for 3 hours before we even got to walk in, and she was talking about a girl with green hair, and I hope she actually makes an appearance. Do you know who she was talking about?
By the time we got through the press junket and everything else, I'd completely forgotten she said that. So I honestly wasn't looking for it.
No worries. Basically, there were several manga adaptations, including a couple spin-off series, including one called Puella Magi Oriko Magica. And this features this little girl, Oriko, with the little green hair.
Okay.
Alternate timeline, about the same things that happen in the original series, but she has the power to see into the future. That could play into some really interesting things once oh, sorry, I had an audio issue. But yeah, that could really start playing into some interesting things come down the line if she's actually added in. And the fact that they're in a kind of an alternate universe, I can totally see that happening. I
Well,
mean,
and it looks like it's the alternate universe that you really see at the end of the TV series
Hmm.
and the end of the movie, because it's the Wraiths. And it looked, if I remember correctly, because that the ending kind of blended into the trailer, the
Hmm.
way they were moving the credits around. It looked like they're still fighting Wraiths.
Yeah, kinda. There was always. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess they were just the race that they were just going after. I mean, I like the fact that because Monaco took away all the witches, doesn't mean that all the evil in the world is gone. It just manifests itself into a different form. I
Yeah.
kind of like that deal.
Well, and that's what she was talking, not Madoka, but the other girl, long hair, glasses.
Which one?
This one. Help me out here. This girl.
Homona-chan.
Okay, yeah, her. Um, she was talking that humanity's capacity for evil and hatred,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way Madoka could ever stop it all. So it's just how bad is it going to be? Is it going to be witches where, all the magical girls, when they finally lose hope, become these witches out to just destroy everybody? Or is it going to be an evil born in and of itself?
True.
So I can see that as being an option.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up the Monaco spoiler stuff. I mean, all in all, what do you think about the film?
I think it was good if you just want a recap if you've already seen the series. If you have a friend who hasn't watched the series, I would skip the movies and just have them watch the series because it's a great recap, but you do lose a lot of the backstory. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't hear about the fact that Mammy was on the brink of death when Cube showed up and said, "Hey, you're kind of dying, but I could stop that if you're willing
Right.
to fight witches."
Uh-huh.
So when
But the other
does
thing about it is I see... I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
what I was gonna say is for me, when she actually did die later on, it was that much more of an emotional impact
Mm-hmm.
because here's a girl that she almost died and then she had to live alone and finally she's with people that care about her and she's gonna go ahead and die anyway. So it's like she got a bad break all the way around.
Yeah, and you know what? That kind of brings me up to a couple things. I want to put the spoiler thing back up just because the fact... Um, I agree with you in the sense that in order to become more emotionally attached to these characters, watch the series because you have more time and hear their backstory and get to know them a little better. So when watching the movies, I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm not as attached, but because of that, I kind of, and I might just be a bastard for this, but I really enjoyed a lot more when they're like their life gets, for lack of a better phrase, fucked up. When something just goes crazy and they go insane and you see they're mentally breaking down. I enjoyed that more because I wasn't as attached to them.
I can do that a little.
Yeah, but there was one thing that really annoyed me was Hitomi, Sayaka's and Monika's school friend.
Oh, I wanted to kill her even in the TV series. That was just wow.
Yeah, because she is such a one-dimensional character and was there for one reason and one reason only, to further break down Sayaka. Just for the sole fact that throughout the first, like, 5-6 episodes of the series, she's just there as a high school friend in the background. Oh, she has a couple lines, but that's about it. There's nothing there that defines that character. And then once Sayaka becomes, a magical girl, then she also comes out and says, hey, I really like this guy, and I know you've been, childhood friends with him, so
Yeah.
that came out of left field, and because there was no hinting at her, no information about her backstory at all, it made me annoyed because why'd you throw a character like that in there without giving her something?
Yeah. And it's like you want to yell at the screen. Really? If you liked him so much, why weren't you at the hospital every day? Why
Yeah.
weren't you taking him CDs?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. Oh, hell no. I'm going to drag you around the corner and I'm going to beat your ass. And then we're going to discuss this again.
I mean, if only they were done a couple things, like added a few frames of Hitomi running to Sayaka in the hospital lobby, or have a scene where Sayaka's looking at the kid Kyosuke, and then have a couple frames of Hitomi in the background looking at the kid as well. then you get a kind of a sense that, okay, they're friends, but they kind of like the same boy. Then I can easily follow that through.
Yeah.
But not just literally, oh, I like the boy, and I'm going to talk to him now that I've been completely shy and quiet this entire time. What the hell was all that about?
Yeah.
That's my ranting on it, so. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for movie 3, just to see what the hell
Yeah.
they do.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I mean, I was excited to go to the movies to re-see the series and everything else, but I was like, it's going to be like everything else. It's going to be a recap of the TV series. But something that I did find humorous was actually an observation by the couple that was next to us when you were up getting popcorn and stuff. They were like looking around. There's a lot of boys in here. There's only like one guy in this series. He's crippled through most of it, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
It's kind of a harsh phrase. But the one guy's like, you don't see any other boys. There's not even a conversation between the boys in that series. Yet this audience is packed with boys. So it's kind of funny to see the demographic that did show up. Because I have to admit, once they pointed that out and I looked around, I was like, yeah, there are a lot of guys here for a movie about a bunch of little girls.
Okay. In America, sex sells. In Japan, little girls sell well.
I'm gathering.
I mean, look at, what the series is coming out. Little Busters, which is based on a visual novel. It's about little girls. That's getting such high praise. Strike Witches, which is all about underage girls who can magically fly with wings and destroy aliens and whatever. I think that the best way to describe that is it's Japan. And leave it at that.
That's true.
All right. Well, I want to move on real quick to something that ties in with Monica. Do you guys in the chat remember this scene? It's going to loop. It's just a GIF from the trailer. Very very Yuri cuddling scene between Monica and Homura. And a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, this is so cute!" But do want. Well, over in Japan, for a couple places where you go see both films, you actually get into a contest to get in an auction to actually buy these frames, and that ended actually earlier today with a whopping bid of 1.08 million yen just for those frames, equals to probably about a little over $13,500.
Was it a creepy old man that won?
Who knows? Those things are very anonymous in terms of who actually gets those. So,
Okay.
but yeah, $13,000 for a couple frames. I mean, I've heard higher, but looking at the context, if you're not a fan of the series, you're like, what the hell is wrong with that person?
Yeah.
A man in the chat goes, "Oh, that's because Homura is hot." Okay, fine. I'll accept that. That's a good excuse for this. All right. Well, I want to say one final thing about the Monica event is that there's like 5 places all over the country that they were showing the film, and in all those places, if you went with limited supplies, you were able to pick up for free a Monica poster. Looks awesome. It was a few weeks ago that the official website announced there's actually 7 different styles of the posters. Each basically have the same characters in the foreground, but the background has changed to correspond with where you're actually seeing it. So the American one was basically a background shot of the Statue of Liberty. But there was one thing that was exclusive to the LA screening, and those were these. These are, let's do a full shot on this. These are basically, they are printed, but they're signboards of Madoka, and it has a bunch of different signatures and messages on it. It looks freaking amazing. Now, a lot of people were pissed because it was only at LA that you can get these. And people were like, what about if you were in Chicago or New York? You want to check those out? Sadly, you couldn't get one. Well, you kind of can now. Because we had press batches and we went to go talk with some of the voice actresses, the English dub voice actresses there. They actually gave us an extra copy, and we're going to give it away. So what you need to do is head over to Facebook, head over to the OtakuLife Facebook page. You'll see this photo. You like the page, and you share the image on your own page. You have 1 week to do so to pass this out. And then next Sunday on this show, we're going to pick a winner. I'm going to send that out. Now, the easiest way, if you can't remember how to get there, if you're not a fan of the page yet, go ahead and check out bit.ly. It's a bit.ly / Madoka giveaway. So if you guys want to win some of this stuff, please just follow the link down below, or just hit up the OtakuLife Facebook page and you have all the information right there. So you have 1 week to check that out. Okay. What should we talk about now, Nikki?
Oh, I don't know. You had so much stuff.
Yes.
Well, continuing along sort of the same thread of movies, there was the Halo trailer.
Yes. There was a lot of talk about this because of who's actually directing and producing it. It was produced by, I believe, the director of Fight Club and directed by the visual effects director of, I forget which film, some big film. I'm horrible. But it actually finally released. It's all this pomp and circumstances, all this fanfare was just for a trailer. Wasn't anything about like a mini-series, even though that's separate and that's actually kind of awesome in its own right. But all of this is just for a trailer, and one part I can say, okay, this is kind of cool. At the same time, though, I'm like, that's a lot of marketing money just going down the drain. But you know what? Let's watch it, and then we'll talk more about it later.
Okay.
So that's kind of just a glimpse of what this whole thing is about. It's almost like basically how they made the Spartans in the first place, how the Spartan program became. It looks cool. If anything, I look at it as this is not really more so like a trailer for the video game for Halo 4, but more so for what could possibly happen if and when Halo actually becomes a movie.
And I would love to see a movie because I've read the Halo books. I enjoyed the story. I can't play first-person games because I get motion sickness.
Oh, okay.
So I'm one of those people that's like, yes, please, make a movie. Because that's all I'm missing. I've read the whole story arc.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going on. I just can't play these games. So please make a movie so I can see the awesomeness that should be this franchise.
No worries, I understand that. The whole idea behind, you have a bunch of space marines going out there to fight aliens. It's not a concept that's unheard of in a movie, but the graphic, the way it's actually brought up on screen, I think it's well worth Microsoft's time to actually make this into an actual film. There was a chance it was going to be a film earlier when they had Peter Jackson attached to it with WetaWorks, and then of course that kind of went out the way. But at least we got District 9 out of that. That was actually a cool movie. I really like that one. So
I haven't watched that one yet.
Really? Okay. It's how do we try to explain it? The gist of District 9 is aliens kind of crash land on Earth. Well, part of their ship does. So their ship is stranded, but it's like maybe 100 feet above the Earth in South Africa. And they can't find the part to actually fix it to leave again. So the South African government of in like the Johannesburg area actually put like basically District 9, an area around for just the aliens to live at. But it kind of turns into more like, it's kind of hard to say. It's actually really cool. So I'll just say that.
Well, we have Netflix. If it's on there, I'll grab it.
It should be.
Not doing much else after work.
All right, so for all you Batman fans out there, there is a really, really epic statue that's out for pre-order now. And let's just take a picture of it. It's classic Joker. I mean, you can't get any, better than that. And forgive me, Nikki, you actually know more than me on this. Where is this actually from?
This is from the cover of The Killing Joke, which is the graphic novel or the series of issues, if you have them, where the Joker basically takes down Barbara Gordon. And there is no longer a Batgirl. She ends up becoming the Oracle later and doing all the groundwork and research. But this is basically where he shoots her in the abdomen, and she's paralyzed, and she's in a wheelchair. So this is a rendition of the cover for that particular set.
Ooh, that just makes even all that much more better. Now, I mean, do we know how much this is going to be yet, or?
I didn't check the price.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it and I'm like, man, that's nice, but I have to think of the theme of what I collect and if this is going to work with my collection. And I'm still up in the air for it.
Okay. To be honest, I think you might need to. Yeah, I think you might need to buy this one.
If I remember correctly, is that Kotobukiya or is that from Sideshow?
I believe that's Kotobukiya.
Okay.
I know Sideshow can allow you to do payments. I don't know if Kotobukiya allows that.
They don't yet.
Oh, they don't?
That I'm aware of.
Now, the day that they do that, you'd be like, and I'm broke for the next year.
Yes. Yes, I would be.
And you just actually picked up a bunch of comic books recently, right?
I did, and that ties into the one that I picked up today. Oh,
It finally went. Well, I'll let it buffer, but keep on going.
okay. DC did their new 52 where they've rebooted most of their story arc.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to pick up the first graphic novel for Batgirl. They have relaunched her. I was a little confused and I didn't quite understand with the new 52 what they were doing because the way it was really advertised was that they were completely rebooting all of their series. And I thought, okay, great. This is a chance for me to get back into American comics after being gone for so long and not have to worry about all the past convoluted storylines, who's been where, what dimension, how many versions of Earth have we had, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually what they're doing. So any of the graphic novels that you had before, so if you have the Killing Joke, that is still canon. Barbara Gordon was still shot. She did get paralyzed. She was the Oracle forever. And I'm only, as you can see, just a little ways into this one. I'm not very far into it. Pardon there. She's back. They haven't explained what it is, but
Sorry.
she apparently had some sort of procedure or whatnot where she is magically no longer paralyzed. So she's going to go back to being Batgirl. What I've read so far, she's moving out of her dad's house. She still has her old van that has the wheelchair access ramp.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still paying nod to what she was, but now suddenly she can walk and she can fight crime again. So it's going to be interesting to see where they take this. I do have the Killing Joke on order, so when that comes in and I read it, I can go ahead and pass that on to you since I'm sharing the love.
Well, I need to return issue 1 or volume 1 of Suicide Squad as well. So
Yeah, and we do have the get you caught up. We have the rest in the closet.
sweet.
I know Michael mentioned this last time he was on as well, the Batman Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
This one's another staple that I've been slowly picking up all of the volumes that really are the best stories of the Batman series, and I'll branch out from there. This one is actually, it takes place over the course of a year, and it's the origin of Two-Face and where Harvey Dent came from and what was going on behind the scenes. And it does have, kind of a twist at the end because you spend the whole time like, oh, it's Harvey. I know it's Harvey. He's the one killing all these people. And then you hit the end and he gives his line of, well, there's two killers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, oh, that's typical Harvey Dent. It's Two-Face. Of course, there's two sides to everything. It's him and his alter ego. And you find out, no, it's not. And I'm not going to say who the second killer was, but there was actually a second person that you did not suspect through the entire novel. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Really? That person? Like, that was nowhere on my radar at all.
Oh man, jitters! I would have gotten away with it too. You little.
Yeah. What? We also picked up Death in the Family, which
Oh yes.
half of it is the death of the second Robin, but the second half of it is actually how the third Robin comes into play. And so you really get 2 volumes in one for that.
Mm-hmm.
We also picked up from the new 52, we have The Court of Owls. This is dark. I'm going to lend this to you, and hopefully you'll like it as much.
How dark are we talking?
Goes back to Batman's grandfather. It goes back to Bruce Wayne's grandfather.
Nice.
organization that's been embedded in the city the whole time. And yeah, it gets pretty interesting.
Okay.
And then, of course, this one for you also to borrow. This is the story arc that covers Joker and having his face cut off intentionally.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to read that one.
Yeah, so
Oh, amazing. You're making me like I already have, money going into anime, manga, figures, technology, video games, and now I'm getting back into comics.
I know, I know. I told myself, we went to the comic shop, and there's now two of them here in Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was one that I went to my entire life. When I was in, elementary school and middle school, I would take my weekly allowance, I'd get on my bike, and I'd go down to this comic shop, and I'd just be like, here's my money. What are you going to give me this? What? I would read all these comics. And that's how I got into drawing, is I didn't take formal classes. I read these comics, and then I tried to draw the covers or my favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
When I left American comics to go to manga, that wasn't really something that they carried. So that was kind of where my relationship with them ended. And it was during the era of, Wildcats and Wetworks and Team 7 and all of that through Image that was really popular.
Okay.
So when it became time and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to comics, and see what's going on and just enjoy being a fan again, I went back to that same comic shop, and it's a different owner. And it, believe it or not, it's a small world. It happens to be somebody Michael knows.
Isn't that nice?
It was one of those, it's a small world moments, because it's somebody from his past that he used to hang out with a lot and play, like the Robotech, or not Robotech, what am I thinking? Mech Warrior games, the tabletop.
Okay.
And I think Dungeons and Dragons too, but I'm not sure on that one. So we went into the shop, and this was a shop that I had known my whole childhood. It was always very organized. I never had trouble finding things, and it was a very focused shop.
Mm-hmm.
They sold only certain things. The owner's very nice, and I don't want to say bad things about their shop because they just cater to a little bit different clientele. I am very organizational about things, and I like things to be neat and tidy. When you go into that store, it looks like organization with a grenade. Like, have a stapler somewhere, and I'm like, well, I see one sticking out from that, paper stack. Is that it over there? And you can't find anything, and they're always trying to move stuff.
Gotcha.
It got a little hard. I also pre-ordered some things with them back in April, and a lot of those things were already available through Amazon, but I really wanted to support my local comic shop. It's going to be November, and I'm now 3 volumes behind on certain series. And when I contact them, I'm like, hey guys, just checking in. And they're like, oh, well, those things are on back order. And I'm thinking, no, they're not. I can get Amazon in 3. So Michael happened to see that there was this other very small comic shop just, about a mile down the road. So we went, and that's where we met George. And yes, his shop is much smaller. It's a fraction of the size of the one I had been going to, but it's clean, it's organized. As an owner, he knows his genre, what he's selling, and he hasn't made a bad recommendation yet. So he's getting a lot of my money. Money wasn't really going to give up. I have one I wanted to read again, and that was it. And now I have like 5. And they sold me a figure today. Not that I needed more figures.
You can always need more. Yes.
Yeah, but, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, I really want to get, this book. And they're like, oh, we just sold our last copy. We'll order you one. And I'm like, great, that's good. And then I looked over and I'm like, man, I've really been thinking about buying that figure. I really wanted the alternate paint job on it, but that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And, I'm really thinking I'm just going to buy this figure.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with her. She still looks great. And they're like, oh, did you know all our figures are 25% off today? And I was like,
ding. Buy all the things.
And course, every day all of their graphic novels are 10% off. So it's that justification of, oh, well, maybe I'll wait and they'll have a sale. No, they have sales every week. And I overheard the boy that was working in the shop. He was talking with one of the customers and he goes, "Oh yeah, I know George just came in today and he said, okay, from this wall to this wall, just go ahead and make all of that stuff in the middle. That's 25% off this week." And
That's
I'm
gotta be
like,
nice to come across.
it is, except when you're on a budget. So that
When
led
that
me
goes
to,
out the window.
yeah, yeah. Gets home and I told him, no, we can't do anything. We're on a budget. And then I'm going to have to tell him, like Nightstar said, charge it. Um,
So what'd you get?
well, I bought the Batgirl graphic novel,
Mm-hmm.
but I also picked up Kotobukiya's Batgirl statue.
Oh, that is just gorgeous.
It,
Want now.
it was $59 normally, but they did apply the 25% off to it. And it's very nice. It's going to go in the cupboard along with Poison Ivy, and I have Mystique as well from the Kotobukiya line. The paint job on it is really nice. I would have preferred the traditional, the gray bat suit with the blue outer and the yellow under for the cape.
Mm-hmm.
Just as nice. I mean, there's nothing that takes away from this. I have to say I like these ones much better than I like is it Amakami that Kotobukiya also releases.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of the Marvel line. I don't know. It's a different sculptor. It's not the same one. But for me, the faces, they always kind of look jacked up. I'm like, not a cute face. I don't want to pay this much for that figure. It's an interpretive costume. It's not a bad interpretive costume, but
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. You got to have that face in order to tie the whole thing together.
yeah. And this one, I was like, just sell it to me. Just don't tell Michael about it. Just sell it to me. I'll put it in the cupboard. Maybe he won't notice until after payday when I supposedly had money again.
Well, let's talk about some other figures then that'll definitely, at least whet my appetite. I definitely want to pick these up. Nikki, Michael, and myself, we've all been watching Sword Art Online. I know many of you have been doing it as well. And there's been announcements of like, okay, here's some Nendroids and here's a Figma. And I'm like, I'm not really a Figma person. And Nendroids, I can only have so many of those. I mean, they're cute, but I'm not going to buy every single one of them. Then they decided to release these prototype pictures of Asuna from Sword Art Online. And yeah, let me get the close-up shot for you on that. First up, you have the whole body is in motion, just twirling around. You have, the hair is, I think, looks fantastic. The face, I mean, even the little smirk that she gives, I mean, that's classic Asuna. I want so bad.
I'm reserving judgment for two things.
Okay.
I want to see it painted first.
That is true. Painting could easily make or break this figure.
Yes, and just like with the Amakami statues, maybe a different person painting it would completely change it, and I would love the sculpt. The prototype sculpt, that looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I as it is as a prototype right now. I'm waiting to see after the final cast, how much am I going to have to worry about a lean? Is it going to have
True.
a post in the base or something to keep her up? Because that 1 foot stance with kind of a little bit of a lean
Mm-hmm.
flow, I want to make sure that I'm not repeating my experiment with Orin in the kitchen in a boiling pot of water. Like, how long do I dunk it in there to get the plastic malleable to reform it? And I want to see the final paint.
Yeah.
I can see those eyes getting tweaked wrong or something. So as she is now, she looks good. I like her. If they make the matching male character, I would probably want that too.
I actually, as one of the male characters I would pick up. The one thing that's going for it is that it is being made by Kotobukiya, so that has definitely good potential for have a really good paint job. In regards to the whole possibility of her bending, there is another figure I have. It wasn't by Kotobukiya, it was by Good Smile. It was from Fate Stay Night. and it was Saber, and she's jumped midair, and she has her sword behind her as she's ready to do a midair strike, and she has one foot that just left the ground, and they have this metal pole, maybe a couple inches long, that goes into her leg and it goes into the base. I've had her for over a year now, hasn't even bent once, or even started acting like it was going to bend. If they go down that path, okay, we should be just fine.
Yeah,
But
and what I'm waiting to find out is what the base system's going to be and that final paint job.
true, true. But if it doesn't work out, you know what? You can always buy a bed, couch, plushy thingy. What I'm talking about is this. This is, you can actually buy this. It is a reclining sofa modeled after Studio Ghibli's Totoro. How freaking incredible is this? And there's another ad for it, gives you the price. It's well over $400 US, not including what it would cost for shipping on something like this. You can looks like you can actually get through Ami Ami, and it's supposed to ship this December. Now, as cool as something like this is, I don't know if I would personally buy it though. I mean, what would you think, Nikki?
Maybe when I was younger, but now that really doesn't fit my style. It's adorable. I'm not going to lie. That's maybe if I had a younger daughter or even a son that really enjoyed Ghibli,
Mm-hmm.
I could see getting something like that for them, maybe for their room, but it's not something I'm going to buy and put in my living room.
Okay, I can understand that. But though, I don't know, if I had, my own apartment again, I might get one just thrown in the corner just because. Then again, I would need to have money for that first, so. All right, looks like we're running a little bit late, so I want to wrap up with one more article, and this has to do with something that's happening in Hollywood this, I think, next Friday, or is it next Friday or Saturday? What is it?
Saturday.
It is Saturday, thank you very much. What we're talking about is for a rescreening of the 30th anniversary of the original Tron. This is going to be actually screened at Grauman's Chinese Theater, one of the best venues on the West Coast, in my personal opinion. It has one of the best screens and by far one of the best sound systems. So they're going to do it for one night only. It's going to happen this Saturday, October 27th. Starts at 7 p.m. at the Grauman Chinese Theater. So it's not just the film. You can also check out a filmmakers panel that happens at 7, then the screening of the film itself, and then they have a party afterwards, which has a couple different performers, including No Such Thing, which I'm a huge fan of. So it's going to be an epic event. In the lobby of the theater, they're going to turn into a like an art gallery showcasing like matte paintings and props from the original film that you can go check out. You can go buy tickets still. They're still available right now. They had a one-day deal earlier last week for $25. That's gone. The general admission, they actually dropped the price, apparently. It used to be $50, now it's $40. So that's going to be good for me because I haven't bought my ticket yet. But Nikki, you bought yours already for you and Michael, right?
Yeah, you guys kind of tricked me on that. I wasn't going to find out or what, but yeah, that wasn't cool.
I'm sorry. He just said to pass the word along, and that was about it.
That's not exactly how he phrased it to me. So just as a preface, Jason sent me the link, and he told me, oh, check this out. Isn't this cool? And I saw it, and I was like, for me, okay, yeah, Tron's cool. I know why everybody loves it. But I watched the movie once, and I was really okay with that. But Michael absolutely loves Tron. That is, I think, one of his biggest nerd buttons. And so I'm like, man, this would be really awesome if I bought the tickets and it was going to be a surprise for him. And I would just hold on to him and I wouldn't tell him what I did. And I would just tell him, don't make any plans. We're not raiding with anybody. We're not going anywhere. I have your full attention Saturday evening. And so Michael, being at his family's this weekend, he texted me to tell me like, hey, just letting you know I'm here and everything's great. And I'm like, perfect, great, awesome. Tell your family hi. And by the way, you have no plans on the 27th. And that's when he tells me, oh, did you buy the Tron tickets? And I'm like, wait, what? And he goes, oh, yeah, I sent the link to Jason and told him to ask you about it because I didn't have the money. And that didn't come up in the conversation between Jason and I. That was purely a, hey, look what I found. Isn't this cool? Not a, hey, Michael sent me this link and it looks cool. What do you think? So there was a little bit of a trick in there for me. I don't know, who instigated that. Yes, I was suckered into it. That is exactly right. If Michael had come up to me and said, hey, I'd like to go to this, but, with rent and everything, I can't quite swing it, I would have been like, yeah, okay, I'll front up the tickets, no problem. But, Jason, shame on you. You got
Sorry,
me.
Jason's not here. It's just me and Sakamoto. Sorry, no.
Yes, I finally get to surprise Michael with something and do something awesome for him after a really crappy trip we had taken to Disneyland recently. And then he was just like, oh, yeah, I know all about that already. And I was just like, oh, yeah.
I'm a bad person. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I just still need to buy my own ticket. So even with the was it a $10 service charge? It's like $50 to get in. So oh well.
Yeah, the tickets for both of us, even at $25 each, it was $60 after the processing fee.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know you guys are gonna go. I know I'm gonna go. And if you guys want to check it out, like I said, I looked online right now. The tickets are on sale right now, not for $25 a piece, but for $40 a piece. So you guys can go check this out. It's one night only, this Saturday the 27th. Go check out Tron, and an amazing night. Amanda said, Jason owes you cake. I guess I do owe you cake or something.
Well, sugar-free cake.
Sugar-free cake, or I just go. I basically, if I really want to be sorry, I can always take you to a comic book shop and say you have 5 seconds, and anything you pick up, I pay for my card.
Only George's shop because I have a hold box there.
Oh my God, that's bad. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up with what we've been watching. And you were just talking to me just earlier today that you started watching a new series, right?
I did. Yesterday, I have to admit, whatever you caught at the theater, it hit me too.
Okay.
I have some major sinus and headache issues. So I sat down and I randomly picked up Crunchyroll on our PS3, and I was just shuffling through what they had available. And there's a new series out. It's only on its third episode, and it's called Batoom, which is Btoom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very interesting, and it was very tongue-in-cheek as well, because it very much picks on the Xbox system, and it kind of picks on people who play Halo.
A little bit, yes, especially in the not only just the design of the characters' avatars, but also in their personality when they're playing the game.
Definitely. And they have their controllers and they have their headsets, and the way that they approached it, it seems like the trend for this season for anime is a lot of video game tie-ins. Not we're making a Street Fighter anime type tie-in, but you have, was it Excel World, which pairs, video games with that collar, so you do things in real life through your computers. The second one, of course, is the Sword Art Online, where you go into a game through a virtual system.
Hmm.
This one is more of video games are no longer enough. We need to bring it to real life. So you have a chain letter that goes around of sorts.
So we go back to like the Greco-Roman period, and where people have gladiators and we fight to the death for blood sport.
Yeah, basically, is there somebody you really want to get rid of? Tell you what, send this letter.
I could think of a few.
This letter back with their name, and we'll give you 10K. And then the next thing you know, that person disappears, and they're dropped on an island where they have to play this game in real life. They get a little sonar chip implanted in the back of their hand. They get a fanny pack, because that's really what it is. You can't call it anything else. And you open it, and you have bombs. And the goal of the game is you have to basically get 7 sonar chips from other people to leave the island. But the only way to get a sonar chip out is to kill them. So you have to wipe out 7 people, get their chips, and you can leave. And it's not all people that played this video game, but those that did play the game that somehow, their family wanted to get rid of them or whatever, they do have that advantage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's your whole thought about basically where the story is going so far? Not just basically what's actually poking fun at, but just overall the story-wise.
It's going to be interesting, and I'm going to keep watching it. It's very much almost like a battle royale type feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that were thrown on this island, the two that you've heard their backstories on, they really don't respect, well, one of them really doesn't respect society and the rules. And the other one just happened to be in a very unfortunate circumstance where they were blamed for things outside of their control, really.
Right.
I think I'm going to keep watching it to see where they take it. They've already kind of poked at some moral issues for some of the characters and what personalities come out when you're in that type of situation. So just from a psychological standpoint, it might be fun to watch it through.
Okay. I agree with you with that, and I'm willing to give it a few more episodes to see where it goes. Then again, I have so many other series on my plate that I'm trying to watch right now because of a whole new fall season, even ones that are just continuing on from the past season. What was I recently watching? There's a series called My Little Monster that really surprised me. It's like almost like a romantic comedy, high school slice of life kind of thing. The girl is she's a bookworm. She's a nerd, so she just sits there and studies all the time. And then she has to work with this guy who's like as random as you can possibly get in high school. And somehow they like each other and things are happening, and we'll leave it at that. It's a romantic comedy. Leave it at that. Sword Art Online is still amazing. I'm looking forward to see how they portray some of the events from the I think it's the third light novel. I was just reading ahead in the light novels what happens in the series, and yeah, it's gonna get dark. It's gonna be awesome.
That creeper dude they introduced in the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, ew, okay, well, this will be interesting.
Oh yeah, that's not the last time you see him. I'm gonna say that.
That and a little bit of weird, creepy cousin love that was also going on.
Oh, yes.
This isn't the series I thought it was, if this is going where I think it's going.
I think, on an unrelated note, probably the one series for the fall anime season that has hooked me the most, that I'm looking forward to watching, the second it comes out, is Psycho-Pass, the new series from production IG.
Yes, the trailer you guys have shown. That looks very interesting.
And the first episode aired last week. You can actually watch it on Funimation. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow. Okay, first you have the same animation quality you come to expect from a production IG piece. Good combination of high-end hand-drawn animation combined with CG. It's amazing. Then you have the psychological aspect. You have, especially with the guns, basically the guns that if you point it at someone and you pull the trigger, it instantly tells what your crime rate level is, what your mental state of possibly committing a crime is. If it's above a certain point, it'll either tase you, or the gun will morph and then turn into like a giant hand cannon and blow you away. If it's below that certain level, it just won't fire, turns on the safety and says, you are not a target for these people. And in the first episode, you have girls breaking down, like, not really a spoiler. It starts off basically see a guy who was accused of committing some crime, but he didn't. But because he had the mental state of being so crazy because of that, then the police think, okay, yeah, then he actually can commit a crime, therefore he's a suspect. He kidnaps this girl, and not to talk about the events that happen between the two, but she gets Stockholm syndrome, which, considering in this series universe where if you have that mental state, all of a sudden you become a suspect as well.
Yeah,
it gets awesome in just the first episode. Gets really dark. I mean, to the point where let's just say that Guro.
Oh, not quite sure if I want to go that far. But I'll...
let's put it this way. Point blank range, gun turns to hand cannon and fires.
Ew.
We'll leave it at that. But it is awesome. So that's basically what I'm watching among a number of other things. For the life of me, I cannot recommend Girls und Panzer. It is just the oddest series of high school freshman girls taking a elective class on what they call tanking, where they all literally just control like World War II era tanks. It is one of the oddest things I've ever seen. It does not work.
I would so take that class.
I would take that class too, but I'm not a little girl, so you know. All right, well, that's it for this episode of From Mother's Basement. Sorry about all the technical issues. We'll have it wrapped up before next week. Thank you guys for actually coming on and watching us on our new date and time. This was the first time we did that. So it's been over a week since the last episode. So thank you very much for following us on that. You can catch From Mother's Basement every single Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. You can also catch our other show, Added Break, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And that focuses more on anime, manga, and video games on that side. If you have any suggestions for the show or have any topics you want us to talk about, go ahead and send us an email at ffmb@otakulife.net. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, same handle as OtakuLifeJason. And if you want to win that Madoka movie poster plus the really, really cool printed signboard, definitely go check out the Otaku Life Facebook page or just hit up bit.ly/Madoka giveaway. Real easy as that. Thank you very much for joining us. Nikki, do you have anything else to add before I wrap this up?
Well, one thing that you forgot about. I can give it to Michael to review next time, but you forgot. You track it around here.
Oh, that is amazing.
She finally came in.
Wow, she's amazing.
There we go. But yeah, she finally came in, and I'll have him take some photos of her to put online so you guys can get some better images. She's really big, so it's hard to catch her with a webcam.
Yeah. She's like good, what, 18 inches tall or something like that?
Oh my gosh, at least that. So you figure 12. Yeah, about that.
She's huge and amazing. Yes, we will definitely be talking more about that next week. If not, we might just set something up on the website as well. So
It's my first purchase from Sideshow Collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
Storm Shadow on order. He comes out early next year. I have to say, hopefully his photos will speak better for her. These are worth the cost. I know she was almost $400, but she's solid and she's not going anywhere. There is a metal peg in her foot. When she shipped, her arms were not attached, but there's a post system with a backup magnet system in it. And she's heavy.
Nice.
The body is actual fabric over a solid sculpt. So when you come up, you can see her. She's really nice. And I have to say, I know Michael's kind of wants some of the other items that they sell. I can now justify buying these pieces now that I've actually gotten to hold one and see how solid they are.
Also, it's good to know that they actually have a payment system because these things can reach thousands of dollars easily, but you get what you pay for. It's incredible.
You do. And when she arrived, I'll have him take pictures of the box as well. They made sure that when they packaged her, even if the UPS guy, who ours is kind of a jerk, were to drop kick this box, it would not damage the figure inside. There were enough styrofoam compartments and foam and plastic that she wasn't going anywhere.
Very nice. All right, I'm looking forward to the full review on that. But that's it for our show, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay tuned for a short post show. And for From Mother's Basement, I'm Jason.
And I'm standing in for Michael, Nikki.
And we will see you next week. Later, everybody.
Bye.